All right, guys. I'm going to tell you whiskey fanatics, the whiskey truth. And I'm going to do a bottle kill for those that are Stag fans. 2019. Man. I heard this is a highly allocated, very valuable bottle. I got it. It was like this much. But I told a friend of mine, I said, hey, man, I need a great bottle to do some videos with. And he said, a really good bottle or like a kind of good bottle? I said, man, a really good bottle. I said, but I only need 6 ounces. He says, that's like $1,000. I said, does that mean I can have it or not? So for you Stag fanatics, this is a bottle kill, which requires a story. Now, this story starts at the Whiskey Blendery. And it really starts with an idea. Oh man, let me see if I can get that fast. This one ain't gonna pop like Pepsi Coke. But I walked into the blendery and I'll tell you this, man. I'd never considered, let's make sure you see that there, having friends, being friendly, being super kind, being considerate, sharing, let alone caring. That drip there, y'all. Jeez Louise. It's almost making a ding sound. You don't want to leave no tincture of Stag. And we're not going to give it a Viking funeral. And I did not purchase this bottle. I'll make sure I don't do the fake stuff where you're like, hey, where'd you get that? A friend of mine gave it to me. And it does disappoint. I haven't had no whiskey all day. Sounds crazy, right? You think I probably drink whiskey all day. 116, which I think is normal for Stag. Mind you, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know enough about it. But we walk into the blendery, and this is how life teaches you a little bit about yourself. You go in with one idea and it changes to another idea, and then you get a better idea, and then the idea continues to compound, which means it gets better. When I originally walked in, as I've shared various moments from the Blendery's page, Tim and I, we'll just say we were filling each other out. He said he thought I was never going to come back. I thought he was going to quit at some point. But the whiskey truth is, we have a lot of work to do. And we're going to need each other to succeed. And here's probably one of my favorite videos or clips that I don't have on me, but Tim said this in a video, and he said, you know, what's crazy. I think he said, what's interesting is that even if this didn't exist, based on how our relationship is today, he said, I believe we would still be doing this. And that's just him and I having a conversation. And there probably would be some whiskey involved, and if it wasn't, we're friends now. So I can't imagine 20 years from now not knowing a guy like Tim. Or let me just be clear, knowing Tim himself. Insert gratitude. My grandfather taught me that gratitude is one of the highest forms of humanity. And oftentimes you go down this road of being a human, trying to figure out how you want to live, how you want to die, getting screwed over, and just trying to live and survive. And most times you're alone. And every now and then you bump into some people, you come across some friends and folks, and things begin to look a little bit better. And had I not walked into the blendery with one simple idea, hey, I think I could build a whiskey brand, I wouldn't have met Jimmy G. I wouldn't have met James Adams. I wouldn't have met Chance. I wouldn't have met Tim. I wouldn't have met Tim's father, his brother Chris. I wouldn't have gone to Kentucky under his tutelage and seen the things that I've seen and learned as much as I could have on my own. I wouldn't be doing booze and food. We wouldn't be sitting here. Simply put, we just wouldn't be sitting here. Because of the Blendery, I now know the power of friendship. I know the power of community. I know the impact of community. I know what it means to mean something to people. I know what kindness looks like. I know what care looks like in a different form. I know what sharing. I know what sharing looks like, man. And that's because I walked in the Blendery. There's two things I want you to take away from this video. Remember this. Stay grateful. And I've said this, and I say this probably till the day I die, is keep an open mind, keep an open heart. And part of this sit down and this bottle kill is I repeat, we wouldn't be sitting here if it wasn't for the Blendery. People wouldn't be coming home from my house on a Monday if it wasn't for the Blendery. I wouldn't be cooking as much as I do with this level of layers and pushing my own food technique, if you would, if it wasn't for the Blendery. Now, mind you, I would do that because I push myself. I like cooking. But knowing I have to cook good food on Monday, and that changes things. Because I'm always thinking like, oh man, what can I make that I've never made that's unique, that's different, that's interesting? I'm always like, well, I guess we'll see, or we'll take suggestions. I walked in with the idea that I could build a whiskey business, people, or a whiskey brand. Tim then took the time to educate and teach me the power of whiskey. And the power of whiskey is not in the cup. Let me tell you, you see this Glen right here? There's no power in this. I don't need liquor to speak and be clear, be intentional, be impactful. The power of whiskey is it brings people together. I've got a lot of whiskey now, and I can't even imagine drinking it by myself or not sharing it with someone else. There's no situation where I drink a bottle because I'm going through something. That's stupid to me. If you're going through something, you need to think through the hell out of that shit. So that ain't the power of whiskey. The power of whiskey, in my experience so far, kind of keeps you going. Gives you something to look forward to. Mondays now have a new meaning. There is an intent to connect, to share, to show up, to be there for each other, to embrace each other, to be joyful, to make good food, to drink good booze, to tell stories. And I don't know where the story ends. I think that's the best part of any story that is in real life. This thing, I hope, never ends, because if we do it right, there will be other people throughout the world doing booze and food, which they've been doing for centuries, to be clear, but sharing some good pours with some good friends and having a good time. Life is very short, and matter of fact, I intend to make the best of whatever time I have left. And for me, where I'm not driven by whiskey, I am motivated by food, and even more importantly, making sure food is good. And it just, you hear the phrase, break bread. What better way to break bread with the person than over a great meal? You sit down, you're full, your head's clear because you're not hungry no more. You can think clear. And then sometimes you want to go to sleep, wake up, drink an espresso, or have some good whiskey, man. We walked into the Blendery under the pretense that I was going to add value to the whiskey world from starting the business. The whiskey world has added more value than I can quantify to my life than I could have ever imagined. And it all literally started with a very simple question. Can I build a whiskey brand? Yes, I can, for sure. I know that beyond a reasonable doubt. Where I struggled and suck, leadership, communication, definitely sharing, and a few other areas that I can be better at. And I'm better at a lot of things, even being kinder, because of Tim and this whiskey. So I looked at the stag, the bottles, to be clear for those that don't know, once they get past this point or halfway point, you want to put argon gas in there or something to keep the flavors from diluting per se. We get here, it's like, okay, it's time for this thing to go. So I said, man, let me sit down and tell the whiskey truth. The whiskey truth is we could all be better. The whiskey truth is I've now had some of the best whiskey on earth. The whiskey truth is some of the best whiskey shows up at my house. Most of it, the rest of it shows up at the blendery. And it just so happens I have to be there. I happen to be there most of the time. I'm the person who gets some great phone calls specific to whiskey and people who want to share good whiskey with me. If you're ever watching The Art of Whiskey, as I learned, there's an art to this thing, hunt him. He said, yeah. I read and I learn, but let me tell you something that you can't learn in a book or a documentary. A lot of times you cannot learn gratitude. It's in people's moments where they're being grateful for you and you're being grateful for them that you learn to be a better person. And that's what whiskey's done for me. So as we enter the new year, or you're entering a new chapter in your life, or you're just working on being a little bit better, I've said it before and I will continue to say it. Keep it whiskey, man. And if you are doing anything in life, do it with your best intent, your best foot forward. My whiskey truth is very simple. We got a long road to go, a lot more whiskey to drink, 1,000 more things to learn, and a few more bottles to kill. But cheers to those people, to those who have watched and are going to see this one day and think, man, I remember when he sat down and tried to express and explain how I could be a better person. And it's all because of whiskey.